let's just return to the infrastructure, the platform of Netflix, and speak more generally. Netflix, Twitch, YouTube. Like anytime I use any of these services, I'm just blown away by the infrastructure it takes to deliver this service. YouTube and Twitch are unique versus Netflix, where the creators can roll in themselves and upload stuff.
Yeah.
So on the consumption side, YouTube has over 100 billion views a day, over 1 billion hours watch time. But on the sort of creator side, 1 million hours of videos are uploaded every day. 1 million hours. It's like you have to service both, and you have to deliver everything. It's incredible to me. Can you maybe speak to your own intuition, just zooming out on it, what it takes to deliver that kind of infrastructure?
For me, the thing that I find vastly complicated, and I can't imagine the engineering hours, is how do you even create an edge in that situation? And what I mean by an edge, I mean like when people say this phrase, if you're unexperienced, an edge is where you deliver data you want that edge to be as close to the customer as possible, because that's where the data lives. And then the communication between the customer and what you're doing is really, really small. Obviously, the speed of light adds up, the amount of hops adds up, the amount of services that you have to remotely call adds up. They all add up and they all add inefficiencies to the system. So something like YouTube, they want to be able to serve that data as quick as possible, but their data changes constantly, and relevance is almost directly tied with the newness of the item. So it's like, how do you even cache these things out? How are you doing this? So they must have such an incredible caching network that I can't even fathom what it takes to do that. That just, to me, is just so impressive. 1 million view hours in how many different resolutions with how much data? What is 1 million view hours? Is it 4K million view hours along with 1080p, along with 720p, along with 1440p? Like, that number is an insane number.
Actually, it is brilliant what you said, which is for YouTube, often the new thing is extremely important to show to everybody. And so you can't rely on caching or trivial kind of caching.
Yeah.
You have to like deliver the new thing as quickly as possible. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. So there's the entire system, the recommendation system that knows each individual human watching YouTube, and it has to integrate into that the new thing while also caching this incredible cluster of possible videos that you're potentially interested in. So, and integrate into that ads, right?
Yeah.
In the case of YouTube and Twitch and so on.
It's a really tough problem because you have to think like, what is the cache hit rate on this? Because there's so much, because the problem now actually comes down to space. Like, space actually becomes a real problem.
Yeah.
Like, how many hundreds of petabytes do they have that they have to like, okay, what do we cache and where do we cache this, right? Like, the number, I mean, I think in the terms of like gigabytes or maybe megabytes. Like, they have to think in probably versions of bytes I don't even know the name for, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like such a different problem. And that's why I said Netflix has a much easier job when it comes to caching. So if you've never looked it up, it's called OCA. And that, we know what videos we're releasing. We know what videos are hot in specific areas. It's a very limited set. We're not going to all of a sudden get, oopsies, we got 1 million new view hours, right? We don't even have to worry about that as a problem. Instead, it's like, okay, we know Stranger Things Season 5 is about to drop. We're going to pre-cache Stranger Things Season 5 in every single OCA across the world because that thing's about to get hammered, right? And so it's like, it's able to do such a different kind of decision-making than what you have to do with something like YouTube. And then Twitch is even more wild because now you're actually ingesting video and trying to make it go out all at the exact same time for all video. And you have to transform that video from whatever format and whatever the bit rate is into something that's more efficient in the system. Like, that, hats off to Twitch engineering, like, because that is like that's some serious work.
And here's some asshole Lex coming out and tweeting about YouTube features. So like, there's a listen.
You're not wrong on the features you asked for, though.
I think this is an engineering problem of how do you allow fast iteration and addition of features that shouldn't have to be integrated or impact the whole code base. So at the edges of the code base, sort of improve on certain features without like having to consult the mothership of the code.
It's the large team, right? That's the fundamental problem. When you get into YouTube size, there is the team slash organization that deals with data warehousing.
Mm-hmm.
There's the team slash organization that deals with delivery. There's a team slash organization that's like the middle layer. How you even, they're going to be like the little microservices to talk to these places. Then you have this front end engineer. So like for a small feature, you have to get middle team, you have to get back end team, you have to get all these things. Quick example: Netflix. Are you familiar with the dystopian Black Mirror?
Yeah.
Okay. Season 1, episode 1. Do you know season 1, episode 1? Everyone who watches Black Mirror typically knows this episode.
Okay, yeah. I don't remember what it is. But...
Forgive my language, but they call it the pig fucker episode.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Once you've seen the episode, you will then know this episode. Well, when Netflix adopted it, I got pulled into a room. There's like a VP, a product designer, a VP, and they said, hey, we're about to release our own version of Black Mirror, season 3, I think, at that time. We need episode 1, season 1 to not be the first thing people see. So let's just reverse the season order. That required me, I had like 20 engineers I had to gather together to be able to have this happen. And that's just the problem of big companies, is that eventually every little thing has to become its own team. And so even small, there's no such thing as a small feature.
Reversing the order of the drop down that selects the seasons is a meeting with a bunch of VPs and engineers. That's really interesting. There's got to be a way to accelerate that. The natural scaling of a company and the bureaucracy that grows, yes, slows that down. But just having seen Elon work a lot, his teams are able to like still keep it very fast, even as the company grows. There's got to be a process to doing that, especially for for the pig fucker episode. I don't know where that's in the priority list, but like for important things like that, you should be able to do that quickly. I don't know. Can you speak to like how would you do that?
Well, I can tell first how it was done. Remember, so at a place like Netflix, there would be, I think that at that point it's called a product called Dexter. I can't remember. There's our actual like movie metadata warehouse that's going to be highly integrated with Hollywood. That's going to be, where that side is able to manage all that. So I'm like, hey, you need the ability to mark things that need to be reversed, because we're going to run into this a bunch. And we did. We ran into quite a few topical shows that all need to be reversed and all that. And so it's like, we need to be able to reverse episode numbers, season numbers. We need to be able to hide season or episode numbers. Like in the case of the Chelsea Handler show, it was like a daily show. So it's like, you don't need episode numbers. You just need the latest one. And so like, there's this whole problem that exists. And so it's like, okay, you need to work on that for your UI over there. Then you need to be able to store that data. Then we need to be able to go to the people that can actually get the video data out of that and provide it to our service layer. I need to go talk to them and convince them they need to be able to give me the new methods and everything to do that. Then I need to be able to go write the methods to get it down. And then I need to go to the UI and make that accessible. Now I need to go to website people. I need to go to mobile people. I need to go to the TV people. And so it's like, you can see this thing like snowballing. And for us, the big thing that Netflix did that was so well is after I met with these people that were high level, I was the captain. I'm the captain now. Yeah. So I went to all these teams and said, "Hey, manager, I need an engineer. We need to get this done within the next couple of months because we got Black Mirror coming out." Yeah. So she would go, "Okay, here you go." The map team, I need someone to help me with being able to get data out of the Lolamo for this. And so it's like, all right, you're working with this engineer. I'd go to the VMS team. Okay, I need this engineer. I'd go to the billboard team. I need this engineer. I'd go to all these little places to get all these little pieces of data. And then I was the captain. So I was like, you're working on this. You're doing this. You're doing this. You're doing this. I'm doing this. Let's go. Right. And so it's like that worked. And we were able to go pretty fast for a big company. And the fact that it required like 20 engineers to do such a simple task, we were able to do it in like, gosh, I'd say about like 3 weeks worth of effort. But that was still, I thought that was amazing comparatively to how many people move.
Well, because you have the freedom of the agency to do it. You said the captain of the ship. That's really powerful. For big companies, that's a risk because you can fuck it up. You might not see the bigger context legally or any sort of the bigger context of the impact on the industry or all the contracts that are made, all that. So it's a risk. It's a risk, but it's a risk you have to keep taking. And then when you fuck up, you fix and then maybe pay the cost legally for that, whatever. But the long term, that risk pays off because you're going to keep creating a better and better product, evolving where the industry is going, constantly innovating ahead of where the industry is going, and so on. Yeah.
And not only that, I think one thing that is just so important is that, yes, the product will get better, but the people that you hire and the people that you keep around are better. because they're the ones that show maturity. They're the ones that can just, you give them something and they can rally the troops and make something happen. Like that's a very great group of people to hire. And so you also naturally select out great engineers that aren't just simply good at coding. They're good at coding and they're good at explaining and they're good at convincing and they're good, like you have to create a very lean audience that can move fast.
And I think for great engineers, having to wait for like, okay, let's schedule a meeting for next Wednesday with the VPs, and that destroys their soul. And they either don't want to contribute anymore, or they leave the companies, or they just kind of tune out and take the golden handcuffs and just, buy a nice house and focus on family.
And I feel like I would die under that. So, like honestly, like that is my death sentence. Is where it's just that there's no reason to try. There's no reason to do anything. I'm just gonna go in there, like, effectively zombie through my day and call it. Like, I don't want to live like that. I want to feel like I'm trying to do something.
I should also mention on top of that, so you've brilliantly laid out how incredible the challenge that Netflix has to solve. On top of that, with YouTube, the metadata thing, because users are able to upload video and there's an API where they can upload automatically and change all this kind of stuff automatically, every one of those things is an attack vector, as we mentioned. That's something they have to consider seriously on the engineering side. And on the sort of the legal side, they can get into trouble all kinds of ways. So they have to consider all of that. Which is fascinating.
The legal side is obvious, but it's not really, like, I would never have initially thought someone would say upload images that you're not allowed to own or have, but that guarantee you that happens. Then you have the whole kid side, right?
Yeah.
Like, think about when you mark something as kid friendly, how many times have they snuck porn into a Taylor Swift video or whatever it was? That was like a few years back. There was that whole Taylor Swift or whatever. I forget what it was. I thought it was Taylor Swift, but there'd be these mock videos that come up and then boom. It's like, that is such an awful problem. And I'm so happy that is not a problem I have to try to figure out.
Yep. Okay. So yes, YouTube and Twitch and Netflix are doing an incredible job.